Hello, hello. This is Kristina, your host today. And today it's a new episode of KSM Podcast, Growing Business Online with Kristina. And I have such a pleasure to have my special guest speaker today, Ann Moir-Bussy. Ann, welcome to the new episode of KSM Podcast.
Thank you, Kristina. It's lovely to be here.
And I'm super excited to have you today. And you're so far away from Australia. I know that. And can you introduce yourself, please? Can you share with us who you are and what you do?
Ah, my name is Ann Moir-Bussy. I'm Australian now, but I was born in England in 1942. So that gives away the fact that I'm over 80 now. So I'm an old business person. And I run a very small business in counseling, coaching, and psychotherapy. But before that, I started life as a teacher. When we came to Australia, I trained as a teacher and worked as a missionary for 25 years. And that was working with the Australian Indigenous people in the Northern Territory of Australia. So very isolated, remote places, but learning a lot about their culture, which was really lovely. And midlife, I decided I needed a change. And then I stopped being a teacher and I retrained and became a counselor and a psychotherapist. And then I went back to teaching and training students in universities how to become counselors, how to be, counseling and psychology. And I did that in Australia. And I also spent 5 years teaching in Hong Kong. So when we retired from Hong Kong, came back to Australia, did the last teaching, and then I retired and am running now my own business as a counselor and psychotherapist and life coach, supporting people.
Oh, this is lovely, and that KSM podcast, Going Business Online with Kristina, is focused on international business and online business in terms to spread the word about getting more clients, share story, and I'm super excited with my guest speakers as you are today. So, and I always ask them, my guest speakers, as I mentioned, who you are, what you do, but also you mentioned that your background is such a from education, and you work as a teacher, as and psychologist. I mean, is that correct?
Yes.
This is
A
lovely.
psychotherapist. And
Psychotherapist, yeah.
we studied psychology and counseling together, but I'm not trained as a psychologist. I'm trained as a registered counselor and psychotherapist.
Yeah, and
A
your
little bit
background, how
different.
did you start? How did you start? Just because I always, sometimes our stories in this podcast just can influence and can impact other listeners, listen and audience just to start something, or they have business idea, but they don't know how to do it, and maybe they always have chance to learn and heard story and hear story from my guest speakers.
I think Kristina telling you that probably also highlights what I do as a counselor, because all of us go through transitions in life. We begin life, we do what we do, and then as we grow older, we make transitions from one thing to another. So, as I said, I was a missionary and I was a teacher, and they went hand in hand because that's what I was trained to do. And I think when I was nearing midlife, nearing that 40ish, 50th age, and getting a little bit disillusioned with teaching, not teaching itself, but the way the system was running. So the system was very confining, and I couldn't be, how do I put it? I like to be spontaneous. I like to share from my heart and share values that are important. But often the system confines you and makes you really tight, particularly a system that is masculine dominated. And I think my feminine was breaking through, and I wanted to be able to share at a different level. So leaving the education system or more the structure of the system I was in as a missionary. It wasn't an easy journey, because when you commit your life to one thing and then everything in your heart and head says, no, you have to change, a bit like a marriage, I guess. In a marriage, people marry
Exactly.
for life, and then something goes wrong, and it's, you grow in different directions. And so growing in a different direction, sometimes it's like finding a new path. There's a wonderful poet. Have you heard of Dante? Dante's Divine
Yes, of
Comedy?
course. Yes, of course.
Well, Dante begins that midway on the journey of my life, I found myself in a dark forest, for the straightforward way was lost to me. How I got there, I do not know. I must have fallen asleep. And I think that was the journey. And falling asleep is, your awareness and your consciousness has to change. You lose the path that you're on, but you don't know what the new path is. And that was the journey, finding the new path. But I think my background, and my parents were missionaries too, was to give and to help others. So to move into the direction of how do I find a way to help others was to retrain in counseling and psychotherapy, and then become a counselor and find a way to help people in a different way and work with people that way. And I did go back into teaching, but this time it was teaching about counseling, about helping people to look at things differently. So that's how it began.
Yeah, it's it sounds good, because as you said, you were working and you didn't just we don't need just always to follow up like a form. Is it like to work in some government school, or to work in some private school, or as a teachers, and then you found your way, how do you wanted to do it, either that you wanted to help people, as you said, in your family, and you grow up like this, as a human being. We are always in a way to help each other, and this is something really, really exciting. And I really like what you do, because as a counselor, just to help people. And can you share with us what triggered you to start your own business? Because the point is, when people of this podcast, to share a story when people just wanted to start their own business journey and show up when they have business idea how to do it. Because sometimes we work for someone, we work for big corporation, or work for companies or agency or school, whatever, and we industry we are in. But I think that people just, and many of my guest speakers were on that way. Just they were working in some big corporation and quit that job, and they saw that it's easier for them to have a freedom and start their own business journey, to help people and to work with people who they wanted to work and when they wanted to work.
You've given the answer already, because that's how it is. As I said, working in education under departments and being limited in what you could do and what you couldn't do, and being tightly controlled, as it were, in how you could express yourself. And there were so many people who needed, I could see people needing support. So I set up very small by myself. The funny thing is, I didn't know anything about business. I just decided I was going to do counseling, and I would do it from my own space, my own place. And so I had a room, and I used to run workshops. That's how I began. There was a need to help people, often in a group. And a lot of the people I studied Jungian psychology. Carl Jung was really an influence in how I did it. And so I ran workshops on how to listen to your dreams, how to connect with that inner self, how to dream, workshops on alchemy, and then workshops on healing the inner child, because I came across a lot of people who'd been abused as children. And so I'd run a workshop, 20, 30 people in a workshop, and then people would phone up and say, can I come and do some work with you? Can I talk to you? So that's how I began. But I didn't know anything about business in those days. It was just very simple. People were there, they wanted help, so I would do it. Did I make enough money? Because when I left the missionary group, I had no money. So I had to make enough money to pay the rent each week and survive. And that's what I did for quite a few years, just survived from week to week.
Yeah, but it's so you had courage to start your own business journey, either that you didn't know too much about the business, but you just had such an you accepted such a small steps to start your business journey, and it's very
Yeah.
simple. But we learn, as you can see, you need to learn through the practical side to taking action.
Mm. Well, I went after that beginning, I got asked to go back and train students at university. So I went back and trained students in a university called the University of New England, which was in New South Wales in Australia. But that university also trained students in Hong Kong. And that was when I began my PhD, because I was sent to Hong Kong on visits to do intensive schools with Chinese students, and then come back and we taught them online. And when I was doing my PhD, I wanted to know, how did these Chinese students who studied English programs, how did they change that for their own culture? So my PhD, I interviewed 20 Chinese students who'd studied English programs and asked them a lot about their culture and how did they change it. So I learned a lot about Chinese culture, which was really good. And then the head of the school, the head of the place in Hong Kong, said she supervised my PhD. And as I was finishing, she said, come and work for us. So we went to Hong Kong, and that way we learned a lot more. I did counseling, but I taught as well for 5 years. And that was just learning different cultures, absorbing different cultural ideas into how you work. I think that's really important, to be really open to different ways in working with people. So working with Chinese clients, you don't work in exactly the same way you do with an Australian client or an English-speaking client. You need to understand their background, understand the way they think, and then work with them that way and be open to that. So that was all part of getting to know different ways of running the business. But then we came back to Australia, and again, the final 4 years was teaching again. But I had a sister who was dying, and so in between teaching, we were going to visit her. And then when all that finished, and I didn't want to teach anymore in a big university, because again, it was confining. Hong Kong was much more open, but back in the Australian system, it was so controlling and confining. And there was not a big understanding of what counseling really did. So the thing was, do I stay doing this or do we leave? So at 75, I said, no, it's finished. And then we moved totally to a different state, a long way away. I had to start all over again. And I studied a little bit about business, but it took me a long time. And I thought, this is going to be easy. I know how to do this. I know how to run workshops. And then COVID came. And COVID in Australia, where I am, we went into big lockdowns. So we couldn't go out and teach. We couldn't do anything. You couldn't go more than 5 kilometers from your house.
You could
For
only
2
do
years,
working online. It was
everything
only
online.
only thing that you can do it.
So I
Yeah,
started
working
doing a lot
online.
online. Yes.
And as you said, it's very interesting. When you mention in terms of Hong Kong and Chinese culture, because when you go there, you need to learn about that culture, to understand their language. Not just, I'm not thinking like a language, but just the way how they think. And when you approach to that, it's easier for any kind of counselor or coach or mentor or university teacher, a professor, to do education there. And as you mentioned, when you get back, it was like a totally different, so close to you. And after that, and when virus was, I know that there are many different people around the world, and they have such an opportunity to start something new in their life. For me, it's not to. I'm in online business for now 15 years, and for me it was like I work mostly online, and then for myself, but it was like to encourage other people and teach them and coach them how to be much more confident in front of camera, or running online business or workshop or session or webinar, whatever may be. But to get back on your path, when you getting back to Australia, and you mentioned webinars, did you continue working in a way which you learn and start working in Hong Kong in terms of counseling and psychotherapy, therapist? What did you say? Just if if I could pronounce that.
I think I incorporated a lot of those values and cultures, but we're changing all the time. Like we're constantly growing. I think it's important to be open to growth and new ideas, and letting go of what doesn't serve us anymore and moving into new ways. So all of that becomes part of who I am. And I guess I'm really blessed. I am very blessed and lucky because of the people I've met along the way, the supports that we've had. But when it comes to actually running a small business from home, because I work from my own home, I don't work in a big corporate. There's no way I want to go anywhere near a university or a big organization anymore. It's working from home. And also being married and having a husband who's had heart surgery in the last couple of years. All sorts of things come into play. And how do you keep going? How do you focus on what's important? As I said, with COVID, a lot of people went into lockdown too, and then they couldn't afford to pay for counseling. And you can't do it for nothing. You've got to run a business, you've got to earn things. So one of the challenges and one of the struggles was, how do I run the business and focus on what I really want to focus on, which is, I should have said my niche in particular is women, and women from menopause on, women over 50, and then women, professional women growing older. And it's helping them to shift their perspective, shift the way they look at the world, because often we get stuck because we're looking at the world through clouded glasses, if you like. The way we look at the world, our perspective is based on all the experience we've had in our life. And that's not always, and I've told the story that if I go out in the car and it's been raining, as it often does here, and the windscreen is muddy, I have to clean it. Otherwise I can't see. And the same with the way I look at the business, or the way we look at the world and all the clients I have. The way we look at it is clouded, it's muddy. So a lot of my work is helping people to shift the way they look at the world, to find different ways of reacting and responding to the difficulties they're facing, and to face the uncertainty that life has, because particularly today, there's so much uncertainty in life. And a lot of us are afraid of uncertainty. So a lot of my work now is, how do I help people to look at what's happening in their life, to shift the way they're looking at it, and to face that uncertainty, to navigate that uncertainty with a more positive outlook, or with more courage, if that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, of course, especially when you mention ladies and women after 50, 50s and yeah, 50 plus. And I know you run your Facebook group. I'm a member of that group. Thank you for inviting me to join, just to share with our audience, just like that they can. It's private group, I mean. Is it correct?
Yeah.
But you can also, for listeners maybe who wanted to join, just to know about, especially ladies who wanted to know more about how do you do that, and maybe get some benefit from there, to work with you in some way.
And as you were saying, the challenges in the business, and one of the things that I'm doing now to help make the business more targeted or to be able to reach more people. I had 2 websites, and we're now putting them into one website. We're beginning to consolidate and make things easier to run so that we can set up the marketing program or the emails and how to contact people more easily. That's a big learning journey for me, how to do that. I'm very good at what I do with people, but technology,
I as a digital marketing coach and podcast creator, I do that for many years, and I know how it's, for some people. I was in that space for maybe now for 15 years ago, but now, when you wanted to learn, you're always open to, because especially for people who need to learn technology. But this is new era and new ages, which we need as a digital space to learn that and work online. So this
and that
is
was
this
another
is
thing I
life,
realized,
this is a
yeah,
way of
way
um,
of life. Yeah. But I
business.
also
And
started to do podcasts, but I didn't know how to do podcasts myself. So I worked with someone else who ran podcasts, and he did all the recording. So I've got about 40, 50 podcasts about that transition from midlife. And then I interviewed many women from around the world.
and
But
what is the name of your podcast?
the
Can
podcast is called,
audience connect with that podcast and
they
find
can,
it?
it's called Alchemy in the Midlife Kitchen. Alchemy in the Midlife
So
Kitchen.
for all you who will listen to this episode, just connect with Ann, and you will have chance to. I will put all links below this episode,
That,
so you can connect and have chance to listen
mm.
Ann's podcast, and to learn more about her. And did you do that with guest speakers, or it was like a solo?
And again, with the changes, as you say, we're constantly growing in the business. I stopped doing that because it was very expensive. And I'm now beginning to find a new way to start podcasts again. And I'm hoping to work with Kristina
Well,
to
thank you so
learn.
much. I will help you, But maybe you didn't understand my question. I was asking you, did you have guest speakers on that podcast to speak with someone, or just you've done as a solo and talk on some topics?
No, the first about 12 or 15 was solo, talking on the topic. And after that, I connected with women all around the world, and I spoke with these women on the podcast, and they shared their story and their journey too. And the
Uh,
podcasts are only 20 minutes because we wanted to make it easy for people to
this
listen.
episode today is going to be a little bit longer because you really have such amazing story to share, and I like to ask you many questions today, that you are first time my guest speaker, but also I will have opportunity to host again my guest speakers, and there are some of them were 2 times or twice, 3 times, any it doesn't matter. But when it's going, if they have something to promote, some new coaching program or whatever, I'm always open to get them on podcast and speak with them. And also I'm inviting you again once to have you on my podcast again. But in
Thank you.
terms of your podcast, I'm so open to help you, because I know I was in those shoes, in terms that I was so shy in front of camera. And I really need to say that thankful to my such a big mentor, my mentor and coach, Kim Wright, and my business partner. I have done one challenge. It was for now 5 years ago, and she always we were running our group, Women Embracing the World, and she always said, "Kristina, why don't you pop up? Why don't you pop up?" And I was like, she was like a front man. I was in the back end, and I don't know why, but when I've done that challenge, and challenges are so important for me, that challenge 21 day digital marketing plan strategy and social media management. And in that time, I created 15 videos and hosted 4 ladies entrepreneurs. And I saw that I'm such a good in podcasting, and this is how I started. So thankful to other of my partners and contributors. Sometimes we really working with other people, we discover our skills.
True.
And I'm much more passionate in speaking. I'm so passionate in speaking than in writing. I like to write, but not too much, to be honest. And either that English is my second language, but through those podcasts, I speak with many people. And yeah, and this is how I started. And also, I do everything alone. So, and I learn, and I'm still learning, to be honest. So you will learn much more. So don't worry about it. You will be good. You will be such a good podcaster. Don't worry.
You are amazing. And Kristina, you've reached out to so many people and supported so many people, and it's just wonderful to see someone who gives so much of herself. And I think it's important for all our listeners, if you're starting a business or whatever you're doing, just be yourself.
Be
Don't try to
authentic,
be like someone else. Be
because
yourself.
how do you do counseling? And how I do podcast or how I do my coaching, we are unique. And this is on a human being level. To the end of in the end of the day, we are only human being and nothing. So if we don't resonate between each other, we're here in this on Mother Earth to help each other. We are as a being, as a human being, and as you said, we importance is to help each other. And we cannot shake hands because we're online. But it doesn't matter that we don't have that in a future time we don't have chance to connect and shaking hand or whatever we can do, or do some in-person meeting or have some retreat, whatever may be,
So true. Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is lovely. And this podcast is really I didn't know about it, but through this I get many answers and questions. What I was in you know, curious about something or have dilemma about something. And when I ask my guest speakers, I always get some, every single time I learn and grow, and we grow together. And this is beauty of online space. When you can connect, I connected many ladies entrepreneurs in Australia. I'm such a good connector and networker, but I wasn't there as a co-author of the book Global Women in Business, which is published 2019 in Melbourne, and there are ladies from all around the world. But I wasn't there. But you can see through the social media, through the connection, I'm one. This is going to be such a dream for some people, but for me, is reality.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Very true.
yeah, so true.
That's wonderful, Kristina. What you do is really amazing, reaching out to so many people.
Yeah, and I hosted many ladies from Australia, and it was for my Facebook group. I was working with women, but it was one such amazing guy. He was from France originally, but he lives in London. And when he was my guest speaker, I said, okay, I'm going to coach and females and males, because it was mixturing, So yeah, that's
Yes,
lovely. This is beauty. We need to work together anyway.
that's
So,
very true.
and can you share with us about your clients? Who are mostly your clients, and
Um,
how do they get to you? How do they reach out to you, and how they feel before they start working with you and after?
I think they reach out to me because they're struggling. And the struggling can be relationship, can be grief, can be work-related issues, all sorts of things, just normal life issues where people are stuck, or they've been bullied, or they've been abused in sorts of ways. So they reach out in different ways. In Australia, many workplaces have what they call an employer assistance program. And if their employees need help, then through their company, they go to someone who belongs to that program and who does counselling. So I belong to 2 or 3 employer assistance programs, and they will phone me up and they will say, we have someone in our workplace who needs help in your area. So that's one lot of referrals. They come that way. The other way people find me themselves, through my books or through the podcast or through things they've seen advertised, and they will phone up themselves. And again, the problems vary. It's different problems. Initially, it was often through the workshops. People would listen to me talk, and then they would want to come and work. So some are referrals, some are from what I've done. Different ways they come. But they all come seeking some sort of answers, and their need for comfort and security has been shaken up. For example, a recent client, her marriage was a little bit dry. They hadn't learned how to communicate very well, and she had a relationship with someone else because she was lonely. And then they came to me, what are we going to do? Everything was falling apart. And we just began to look at how they were looking at things, how they saw things, how their past influenced the way they are, and teaching them new ways of looking at things. I often say to people, if you don't like the radio channel or the TV channel you're listening to, what do? Change it. All right, if you don't like what's happening in your life, stop repeating it. Let's find a way to change it. Do something differently. And they learn that. And it's also helping them to get confidence in their own ability, their own inner wisdom. Particularly women often feel that they're not good enough. They don't feel confident in the decisions they're making. They feel that they can't do it. And then just watching them, giving them that courage to change and to grow. It's such a beautiful thing to see them blossoming and growing and opening up. And then they're free and they go and pass that on to other people.
Fantastic.
So,
Really sounds great. I love that. And just imagine how you can help people, after that, after counseling, after coaching them, work with them. As you mentioned, we can also say that we don't want it to go to leave our comfort zone. And people are, I had one of my students, and we were working on his habits. He's small student. It's about, he's now 12. And he said to me, hey, I cannot change my habits because his mother, he knows me from we're like from a classmate, and she wanted to work with me because she knows, and I'm in teaching part for many years. And I was working with him, and every single day we worked together 2 hours. And he said, I cannot change it. I cannot change my habits. But when he graduated and finished the school year, he has such an excellent grade. But I didn't know that. And when I asked, how did he feel after that? And she was so excited with that. But I'm not too much in the teaching area, to be honest. I still teach, but I'm much more I graduate economics and English language, but also I'm much more in this online space. So, but people know what I do for many years, and they, as you said, I like to help people and really help them to reach out to them and see their transformation. What I wanted to ask you, because there are many people who struggle with clients. When you work with your clients, do you have some clients who ask you how to help them to get more clients? For example, did you work on that way?
I do also supervise younger counsellors. So because as a counselling profession, we undertake supervision to help us improve. So when I'm working with younger counselors and they're looking how to get more clients, mainly, again, it's be yourself, get some testimonials from some clients and ask them for referrals. Put your business cards around. Sometimes, I think sometimes the writing articles, this is what I'm doing, is writing columns and articles, writing.
Yes, I also want to let audience know about it. We are going to talk about that as well, as columnist. But you know, what is what is the point? That I really like that listeners can hear from you in terms of getting clients, because you're a counselor and people have different problems, and many of them struggle with clients, to be honest, especially nowadays and after shifting business from offline to online. How to start with that, we mentioned that in terms of wires and other things, and people immediately they needed to change something in their life, or create new and structuring new business, or do some new digital format of that, whatever. But I think that through my I'm when people come to me, and because we work and do websites for many years, and when they ask me, Kristina, as a marketing manager in my team for the web and graphic design, before I start coaching my KSM Growing Business Online brand, coaching, speaking, and podcasting, this is my own brand, but my brand promotes this team with as a marketing manager. I started internationally in Australia, in US, in UK, and other countries. And when people start, and here in local market as well, in Belgrade, in Serbia, but they ask me, I have a website, and am I going to get clients? And I say, but I always say, you have a website, but you need to manage it. If you cannot do it, you need someone to manage it, to get traffic, to promote, whatever you. I cannot teach people and coach them how to get clients. I know to structure tools, and how to build online presence, give them tools, strategies, softwares, whatever may be. But I'm not sales trainer, and because of that, I know, and this is why I started that coaching part, to coach people when they have their own website, or they want to, and how to run their online business, what kind of email to use, automation, CRM. This is for clients, and other things, and people just, they come to me, they ask, but my job is to coach them if they wanted to do alone, or if they wanted to engage someone to do it. And this is something what people just, they need, but clients couldn't get. They can read articles. It's such a big competition, as you mentioned, but nothing is by accident. We need to structure it. We need to know where we want it to go. We need to narrow our niche, and to know who do we want it to work. Who is, sometimes people say ideal client, but sometimes for me it's theoretical. Okay, this is ideal client, but we don't have time to see a profile on Instagram, Facebook. You need to see what that person posts. For me, for myself, from my experience, everything is organically. I like SEO, search engine optimization, which I created my course about it. Also, this kind of video marketing and audio, like podcasting. This is for free. This is lead magnet for my business, and also referral marketing. And like from your referral from your old, I mean, or existing clients, or on networking events as well. So this, and when you build trust with people, and also with people, when you connect, you need to be on the same frequency, because this is like a marriage. If people like you, and if they want see you as a person, and see your body language, and they want to, you're authentic, and they attract them on that way, and they wanted to work with you. They just don't take care about how much do you ask, what is the price. Sometimes there are different people, but I think that we need to resonate and to speak with the same language. I'm not talking about English language, French, or other. I'm talking about business language and
It's
frequency.
being really interested in the client and being on their wavelength, listening to their story and showing them that you really care about them as a person is really important, that you're there for that person. You're not there for yourself, you're there for the other person. And it's how do you make that presence? How are you really totally present to the client? And that comes with the practice of mindfulness. It comes with that practice of listening. And as you say, having a website, this is why I'm redoing all my website, because I haven't done that properly, but I'm now redoing the websites to be able to set up a process so that will work much more efficiently. And I haven't had an efficient online presence for many reasons, but once we get it all into one place, then hopefully that will be much more significant. As you say, it's very, very important. But with anyone that you're speaking to, if only you can be there for that person at that moment, that's all that matters. It's when clients come, as I say to them, it's a bit like the space between us. We call it's temenos. Temenos means it's a space where you put everything in and things are changed and transformed. And so while you pour out all your heart with all your problems, and it's in this sacred space between us, and there it's being transformed, and you are actually transforming yourself, because me as the counselor, the listener, is the one who's guarding that and holding it for you and helping you, but you're actually doing the transformation. We can't transform other people. We can be there for them. We can hold that space. We can give them techniques. We can teach them things. But if you have enough love there, same with doctors, with healing, if there's enough holding and love, the person will heal themselves.
Yeah, this is so true, as you mentioned. And in terms of website, let's say of Google page, whatever you have, it's so important when people come to you and this is your avatar. This is who you are. How do you appear and how do you how people reach out to you as professional? They go to your website, and when you wanted to buy something, what we do now, we go and type it and see what is the price, what is the color, just I'm talking about t-shirt, it doesn't matter, whatever may be. And we now first what we go use a mobile phone or computer, go there and research it. So this is like for us, if we are not present online, who knows about us? There are people who don't have website and they still work like hairdressers or mechanicals or I don't know, just to say all those words. But and they just have referral from their clients, that, or they use on Instagram page. This is what I coach people: how to run and set up their LinkedIn business page, Facebook business page, Instagram page. And also I coach people and train how to start and run their own podcast. If they wanted to have as a lead magnet, or if they wanted to monetize it, or solo with guests, with partners, with contributors, with etc. But anyway, it's so important to get visibility. And this is, or if you and I would love to hear from you, this is like a backlinks, what we can call it in SEO, search engine optimization. In terms when you write articles and when your article is present on reputational magazine or platform, whatever it may be. And this is what what we like to do when we type our name. We can see many links when you go to see it and say this is, and every single time and I know that you are such a great columnist for Holistic Bliss magazine. I was also writing 2 articles. One is how to run podcast for your business as a host, as business owner, and the other one is SEO for business, something like that. It was one in June and July. And I'm so thankful to Vanessa for that opportunity for being a columnist in June and July 2024.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes, I think writing columns, I'm writing a column for 12 months, and the theme is really based on my whole business of helping women as they're becoming older, becoming elders, becoming wise women. So it's not just writing about anything, it's building that theme all the way through. And I think that is one of the ways of also helping people to see, or helping prospective clients to see, this is what I do, this is where we are, and if you need this sort of support, this is where you can come. So,
and what would be your favorite topic, for example, for that articles, what you've done as columnist for the
well, it's all
holistic
about how to become an elder, or this is a word that maybe
Sounds
is not
good.
in your language, Kristina, but we talk about becoming a crone, C-R-O-N-E, a crone. And in English language, the word crone became a very negative word because of the masculine system didn't like the wise women in the Middle Ages and the herbalists and the women who had knowledge. So they talked about crony old women. But crone is a word from crown, and it means crowning your wisdom. So I'm trying to help women.
Interesting.
You can become a crone, you can crown your wisdom. But it's mainly about tapping into your own inner wisdom. Every woman and men have an inner wisdom. But we spend so much time in the early part of our life, married women, work women, whatever it is, you're giving to others. You're constantly supporting everybody else. Now, at this stage of your life, it's time to tap into your own inner wisdom. Be self-compassionate. Love yourself. Give compassion to yourself, and then share that wisdom with others. So that's the message all the way through, I think, is how do you tap into that wisdom? How do you let go of the last one, for example, was stop playing the role you're playing. Stop being the teacher, the whatever it might be, the mother, the teacher, the entrepreneur, and be the woman, be you, be the wise woman, and love yourself as well. So tap into your soul. And this, I think, is what's so important at this stage of life. 50 on, and then, as I said, I'm in my 80s now, and I think even more so as you get 60, 70, 80, you need to tap more into your soul, into the inner self. And that's what the message is all the way through.
I'm
Yes.
so honored to have you today, just to, as you mentioned, especially for ladies, and to tap in their soul and to tap in their authenticity. And, it's so curious. Maybe we can have the other podcast, maybe to speak on that way, just to be a topic about that, masculine and feminine, like females and males, in terms that what as a mom, as you mentioned, support family, support kids, support get married, all those kind of things, and when is time for us. And you are also today in the right time and right place to speak about it, to think
Thank you.
about ourselves, especially when we are 50 plus and more.
Yes. So important to really focus on its growth. And we are, we're here on earth. What for? I mean, what's the purpose of being here?
Yeah.
And you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings. You're your inner body, and in that inner center, there is love. And tap into that love and become that love, because that's the legacy you have for the world. And the world needs it today so much. There's so much division, so much hate, so much fighting. And one woman at a time can bring more love. into the area she's
Yes,
in.
and in that way, we can create such a better place. Every single person will create better place for our world and our planet, Mother Earth, to be first and foremost better persons, I mean, and professionals and whoever, you know.
So become a crone, crown your wisdom.
So, and we can share it all. Can you I think that we talked today, it's such a
Enough
good
for today.
episode. Yes, and I cannot stop talking to be honest, but it doesn't mean that we will have the other episode once when I will announce as well about that. And can you share with us? I will put all links to your articles, which is so that people can read it online. You work online. You mentioned about who your clients mostly are. And can you share with us the name of your website? I will put all things and how people and audience can reach out to you on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. What is your favorite platform or email? How listeners can reach out to you to help them?
If I send you an email and I'll send all these links to you, because as I'm changing the websites into one,
Yeah, of
it will
course.
have a different name.
It's
So
a
I will send
pleasure
all
to
those
share it
to you.
here. Yes.
Yeah. And also my new email, which is ann@moir-bussy.com.au. So I'll send you all the links.
Yeah, thank you so much. And before we ramp up the call, I always ask my guest speakers, what would be the message for our listeners who wanted to start business or who wanted to be there to get their to be authentic just or think about if they 50 plus.
Oh heavens, so many messages.
Yes, many questions, but maybe you can put it in one answer. Just which one will be so important by your side for our listeners?
Just start. Don't be afraid. Doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is that you begin to put it out there, because until you put it out there and start, you'll never know. I mean, if you think of Michelangelo, who took a great block of stone, and in that block of stone, he saw a lion or saw something, and then he chipped away. And this is what we do the business. You've got a vision. Don't give up on it. Keep putting it up there and believe in yourself and get the help you need. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, and be authentic and try. If you don't try, whatever you wanted to try and change in your life, you have never know how it's going to be.
You don't climb the mountain, you'll never see what's on the other side.
Yeah, I know that. And as I said before I did it earlier, that when I didn't have my my podcast, it was for me. But now I learn, this is practice. I learn from speakers, they learn from me, we grow together, we build amazing relationship. And if I don't have that podcast, I have never know about you, that I didn't met Vanessa on social media and Holistic Bliss and connected. And this is a way how I reach out to my guest speakers, or there are people who listen or something, and they reach out to me. I don't know them, or they don't refer it, just they was on some Apple, on Amazon or Spotify, and they was listening, and that this KSM podcast, Growing Business Online with Kristina, is best 20 or top 20 in category of online business by FitSpot to listen to and follow in 2023 and now in 2024. And I got that email directly from owner of that platform. So I'm super happy with that, because Matrix is guest speakers, duration of episodes or ages of podcasts, speakers, content, and I'm super happy with that. So just to be honest, and this is my obligation to be better and better in this business. So
thank you so much for having me, Kristina. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me, and it was such a pleasure having you. I'm so excited, and I'm so blessed to have you, to be honest. And I would love to meet you in person one day.
One day, yes.
Yes, in Australia. So that will be fantastic. Thank you so much. Regards
We
to
will
you
be
and your
in touch.
Yes, we will
Yeah.
be in touch.
Thank
Regards to you
you.
and your family, and wish you all the best in your life and to get more clients and help them more and more. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
and
Sonia.
see you very soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Kristina.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne.